Hello everyone and welcome to this LyricLand video with me, Mr. Linham, where we're on episode 5 of the Film Music Project. This week we're going to be looking at comedy and how we find comedy in music. Now, there isn't really comedy as a kind of style of music, but the way music can be humorous is a really interesting thing. So we're going to get straight in to task number 1. So far, we've already worked through lots of different styles of music. We did action, we did romance, we did horror, and now we're into comedy and humour. How can music be funny? How do the elements of music make music funny? What's funny about things and what makes music not funny? So that's what we're going to try and unpack today. Hopefully you've got your worksheet and you are able to start filling in the answers as we go through. We're going to start off by looking at pitch. Now, the interesting thing we found with horror music was it was about extremes, and actually humour can also be about using the extremes in the same way. If I take a little kind of musical repeated section, like this, if I suddenly go, there's something quite humorous about that, particularly often in the way that it's done, but the definite kind of surprise that is not a scary surprise, but is a joyful surprise, is definitely in the kind of pitch. We could also say that it's about the way that it sounds with consonants and then sudden dissonance. Hopefully in the earlier videos you've worked out that consonants are sounds that go together and dissonant are sounds that don't. And it's all about controlling when we hear the consonants and dissonance, much like in the romance where we're looking at major versus minor. There's an immediate difference there, and it's how can we make that work. So if I'm in a major key, then I suddenly go, it's not scary, but it's funny. So it's all about controlling that dissonance. So therefore, what we need to put in that box is really about extremes in a surprising way. So put extremes in a surprising way. That'll do us. It also helps if we have an understanding of irony, but we won't even get into that whole thing. If we look at melody within pitch, well, it can be both consonant and dissonant. One of my favourite examples is the March of the Gladiator. That's a very funny little tune, and the reason it's funny is because it uses all the notes in a row. It's using what we call the chromatic scale rather than the major scale. So you've got that major sound down here and the chromatic sound up there. Can't do the stride piano. Yeah, that's not going to happen. What we've got is the juxtaposition of the major sound with the chromatic melody, and it's always about finding that clash. But generally a melody in this scenario is going to be quite simple and consonant, or it's going to be using those opposites in a funny way. What's the rhythm going to be like then? Well, I think rhythm is probably going to be simple. It's not going to be very complicated. It's not going to be some kind of jazzy thing, but actually this is far funnier than kind of... That's not very funny, but if I go... mysteriousness to that last note. So it's fair to say that the rhythm is kept very, very simple. It's not going to be some really complicated thing. Tempo is usually medium to fast because slow songs generally aren't funny. This isn't kind of funny yet, but if I speed it up, that is arguably funny, or that's just my face maybe. Also, like, when it sounds random, that's also very amusing. 4 years at music college. Thinking about dynamics, is it going to be quiet or loud? Hopefully you all know the answer to this. What is it? It's going to be loud. If it's funny, it's generally quite loud and confident within its volume. It's not going to be some dainty little... So that's not funny unless, and this is an interesting one, that's only funny if it's done sarcastically. So if I do it like, oh no, isn't it sad that your cat ran away? I mean, that's not very nice, poor cat. But you get the idea, don't you? You see how that works, hopefully. If you need explanation of sarcasm, ask your parent, guardian, or teacher. Structure is next. What do we think the structure is going to be? Is it going to be very well structured, or is it going to be completely free-form and through composed? I think for it to be funny, it's got to have a good, strong sense of structure. So strong structure is what we need to put that in that box. Structure, structure, strong, strong, strong. Because if it's not well structured, then the joke doesn't work, quite simply. And a good joke always has a punchline. Looking at texture, we actually find that the texture is really quite simple, which means that it's usually only 2 layers. And those 2 layers we would typically call the melody, or the tune, and the accompaniment. So you need to put melody and accompaniment. I put the words below so you can see how to spell them, because accompaniment is a long word, isn't it? I know. Now that is a really good example of funny music, isn't it? Because that was a sad song, but it was done in a funny way. And that's where this is a really hard one to work out, because that is the exact opposite of what we've said earlier. I know, this is so hard. Ah! Finally then, the timbre is all about the way that it sounds, and actually it's all about finding things that sound funny. And dissonance, when 2 sounds don't go together, can be funny. So if I take a little tune like this. And then I throw in some deliberate wrong notes. So timbre is all about the sound of surprise, isn't it? It's about using an unexpected timbre. Because if I take that little tune again and go honk, that hopefully is funny. I don't know. I'm going mad in my room at this point. Okay. Surely now you've got that all written in your chart, and your chart is looking very full now because we've only got 1 week left. Now let's move on to task number 2. In task number 2, I'm going to play 2 pieces of music. You've got to decide which one is funnier. I know. Here we go. Option A or option B? Here's the first one, option A. Option B. Which one do you think is funnier? A, B, A, B. Up to you. When we look at those 2 pieces of music, you have to kind of use your imagination to imagine something on stage or on TV or whatever's going on to see if you can work out what's funnier. For me, I think the first one is probably funnier, but it depends what was happening on stage. If you've got someone walking around tipping their hat to people and falling over, maybe that second one is a better choice. Up to you. Number 2 then, here's A. And B. That's a hard one. That's 2 very classical music inspired examples. I'm making all of these up as I go, so I don't know what's going to happen. Which one do you think's funnier? I think maybe the second one. For me, I just think this is funny. I just find that more amusing. And finally, our third option then. Here we go. And number 2. So what do we think, A or B? I mean, the second one was that B, that was a tango. You can tell from my left hand part, that makes it a tango. Is that funnier than the first one? What do you think? Maybe have a debate with your family and the dog, or if you're in school with your teachers. I don't know if you're going to be watching this in school. For me, I think the tango is maybe slightly funnier, but it's subjective, isn't it? The good thing about all of these task number 2s is that there isn't really a right answer. It's up to you on the other side of the screen to work it out. I know. Well, now it's time for the Foley challenge. In today's Foley challenge, I want you to find the best rumbling sound you can possibly find. So look around the room that you're in and look at something that might rumble or rattle in an interesting way. On the piano, you can get a lovely rumble. And I want you to see if you can find a really good rumbly sound. It could be where you're like using a shaking, something that's full of shaking and tipping. It could be all sorts of things, but find me a rumbly sound. Maybe it's your tummy just before dinner. That's always a good rumble, isn't it? So find me a good rumble and then email me. Let me know what your rumble is. That'll be fantastic. I do love a good rumble. We're now going to move on to our song of the week, which is our film music song, and we've been looking at taking the melodies of John Williams and putting words to them. We've already done it with Harry Potter and Jurassic Park and Jaws and Indiana Jones last week, but now we're going to go to Star Wars. And we're going to start off with the Darth Vader theme music. It's a very, very famous piece of music, and I put words to it, which you can see on the screen either side. I can't remember which side I've put it on, never mind. It's going to go. Bass is low, here we go, here we go. Sing me that. Bass is low, here we go, here we go. So you need to go down low and go down low for bass is low, here we go. Swing your arms for baddies march in a row, in a row. Baddies march in a row, in a row. Then you're going to do scared faces, like this. So make sure you can still see me and you're not covering your mouth, but your eyes are clear. Then we're going to go, we are scared, he's the evil one. Like that. 1, 2, 3. We are scared, he's the evil one. And the melody, and I'm kind of paraphrasing this melody, it's not exactly like the film because that's hard to sing. We are scared, he's the evil one. Then we go, he's bad, he's the scary one. And I like to do these kind of floaty arms. He's bad, he's the scary one. And again, he's bad, he's the scary one. Then we go, we're sad, oh no, and I want crying. Not actual crying, obviously, but fake crying. From We Are Scared. We are scared, he's the evil one. He's bad, he's the scary one. We're sad, oh no. Let's see if we can put that whole little section in a row. From Bass is Low. Here we go. Bass is low, here we go, here we go. Baddies march in a row, in a row. We are scared, he's the evil one. He's bad, he's the scary one. We're sad, oh no. Did you spot my deliberate mistake there? I swapped evil and scary. I know, that really is the scary thing. We're now going to try and put the whole song in a row from the Jaws at the beginning. Let's see how we do. 1, 2, 3. Music. Film music. Film music. Music. See the ball. See the film on a very large TV. Eating popcorn and hear a tune as the music fills the room. It is grand, it is good, and it sounds just like it should. Helps the plot along with a song, and you start to hum along. As the film begins, you hear soaring strings, and the trumpet plays the tune. Play triumphantly in a major key as the hero saves the day. Suddenly of earth. We're flying high up in the sky on broomsticks that are made of wood. They're near, they're there, they're everywhere. The melody soars so good. Tune for trumpets, start to build. Get a trombone, and the sound is filled. Use a snare drum to find the beat, and a French horn and tuba and all the brass you need. 2, 3. Bass is low, here we go. Baddies march in a row. We are scared, he's the evil one. He's bad, he's the scary one. We're sad, no, oh no. Fantastic, everyone. You've done really, really brilliantly at that. Now it's time to move on to something else.
If you've got ears on your head and your brain in between, you're ready for a little bit of listening.
Ning, listening. This week's listening project is to look at one of my favourite pieces of film music. It's Mission Impossible by Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman was a singer in a pop band and ended up quite by accident becoming a film composer, and he wrote the music for The Nightmare Before Christmas and Batman and many other famous things. But we're looking at his original Mission Impossible piece of music, and I've got 3 questions for you to answer. Question number 1 is, what is the time signature of this piece? That means, how do we count it? Is it going 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Have a careful listen to it and try count along with the beats of it and see if you can work out exactly what the time signature is. It's hard. Number 2 is, what are the first instruments you can hear before the main riff section comes in? It's a before it starts. What instruments are playing that? Have a listen, see what you think. And finally, I want you to see if you can sing the tune, because there's lots of layers of this song, and I want to see if you can correctly identify which part of this song is the tune. Below this video, you'll find a link to it on Spotify and on YouTube, and if you're watching this through the LyricLand website, there's a Spotify playlist for you to play it on there. Though you only get a 30-second clip if you haven't signed up to be on Spotify. I know, the technology. Really enjoy listening to this Mission Impossible. You'll be going around your living rooms like this. It's going to be amazing. Fantastic. Get listening. I love that piece of music. I just want to keep moving to that beat. It's really incredible. So, number 1, what is the time signature? Da 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 da. That's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the right answer. Well done if you got that, because it's quite hard to kind of hear it if it's going da 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 da. Feels like 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the 1 and the 2 aren't the same length as the 3 and the 4. So it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can hear that is actually where the real 2 is. I know, how exciting. Number 2, what is the first instrument heard? It's actually a percussion instrument. You can hear the marimbas and the glockenspiels. Any of those, I'll accept xylophone as well. Any of those are pretty close to the right answer with our marimba up the top. You might not have heard of a marimba, but you might recognise the glockenspiel sound from all the glockenspiels we've played in music together. Finally, number 3, can you actually sing or hum that tune? Well, I don't know. Maybe you can, but if you're going da 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 da, you're completely wrong. That's not the tune, because the tune is the ba-do-dee, do-do-dee, do-do-dee, do-do. What you're singing there is the tune. If you're doing the da 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 da, that's just the riff. That's not the tune. This song is great because it has several very clear textures. You've got the do-do-do melody, you've got your riff, dun, 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 dun. Then you've got all the drums and stuff going on and keeping that groove propelling forward. So well done if you were going biddle-dee, biddle-dee, biddle-dee. Yeah, oh goodness me. Right, now for a game then. Enough of that. Of Don't Clap This One Back.
Don't clap this one back, don't clap this one back.
We're going to make it harder this week. We've already got Don't Clap This One Back and Never Clap This One Back. We're going to add in I'm not clapping this one back. I'll do that again. I'm not clapping this one back. One more time. I'm not clapping this one back. Here we go. Best of luck, no mistakes. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Don't clap this one back. I'm not clapping this one back. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Never clap this one back. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. I'm not clapping this one back. Don't clap this one back. Hopefully you got those. There's much harder, the more rhythms we have to remember, the more tricky it is. But I'm sure you've all done amazingly. Go have fun finding your Foley challenges. It's been really great having so many emails coming through with all the different sound effects you've been recording. And whether you're in school or at home, it's really great to try and record those sounds because that's what a real Foley artist would do. So well done everybody that's been sending me things. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe and all of that stuff, and visit lyricland.co.uk for all of your primary music educational needs, or just to laugh at me. Anyway, I'll see you all for another video very, very soon. Next week, week 6 is our final week, and then we've completed the film music project. Yes. See you next week, everybody. Bye.